Good afternoon and welcome to the Burnside Bowling Green here in Christchurch, where we're about to get underway with our first final, and that will be the women's pairs final, where it will be between Taylor Bruce leading and Claire Hendra, the composite combination up against Bev Morrell and Sandra Keith. Sandra Keith out of the Leaston Club in Canterbury, and of course Bev Morrell plays out at the Canterbury, plays out of Elmwood Park now, and a winner of numerous Canterbury titles. And with me this afternoon will be, the New Zealand Bowler of the Year, Val Smith. Of course, was until yesterday the pairs title holder, defeated yesterday by Dale Rayner and Karen Gelford in their quarter-final match yesterday. And Val, of course, will later on today receive the award for the New Zealand, Bowler of the Year. So Taylor Bruce all mic'd up. So good afternoon, Val. Welcome. Great to have you here again. A long time between drinks.
Yeah, cheers, Kevin. Good to be here.
So what's your thoughts on this? You know, Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra were very dominant in their semi-final against the mother and daughter combination, played very, very well on the draw. And Sandra Keith and Bev Morrell, well, they're two players that need no introduction to. They've been around a long time. Sandra Keith, former New Zealand player, and, well, Bev just won, I don't know how many Canterbury titles she would have won. A lot.
No, that's right. Bev Morrell was certainly one of the top players, top female players in New Zealand when I was just starting out on the scene. And of course, she come through with a group of very top players from here in Canterbury. Of course, Mari Watson, excuse me, Mari Watson.
Joan Carn was here at that stage, wasn't she?
Well, it went back when Linwood Bowling Club was very dominant in the Canterbury region.
They certainly were. They were a strength, weren't they? That's for sure. And this weather would be, it's like being back in Australia, isn't it? It's just outstanding, this weather here at Burnside.
Oh, no, you can't beat New Zealand summers.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. And also, of course, going at the same time, about to go underway, is the semi-finals of the Summerset men's singles, where Mike Galloway, the defending champion from Auckland last year, is up against Kelvin Scott, the local Cantabrian. Very, very good singles players, Kelvin Scott, and, of course, former New Zealand player himself, won New Zealand singles, of course. And I suppose you could say the comeback king, Andy Curtin, Andy, of course, got 9 New Zealand titles and played for New Zealand, won a world championship, of course, in South Africa in the triples, and Andy making the comeback after many years, really, and great to have him back. And now here he is through the semi-final and up against Tony Grantham. So it's great to see Andy Curtin back there, Val, isn't it?
Oh, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just actually funny, I was just talking to Miles and just saying how, you know, he's, although he's been out of the scene sort of at the top level for quite a while, I mean, we all know how good a player he is. And so he's got the game. He's always going to have the game. So and
he's got the gamesmanship as well.
Yeah, definitely got the gamesmanship. And but if he's in a good headspace, I mean, he's very capable of
absolutely,
of winning this.
And he did tell me that when he beat Seamus Curtin yesterday, he played the winning bowl, in fact, on his forehand. And throughout the match, he played 2 bowls on the forehand, because Andy, well known as a backhand, a backhand specialist. But it's great to see him here. And, of course, Tony Grantham in the other semi-finalist, former New Zealand player, winner of New Zealand singles. So 2 good semi-finals, and I'm sure we'll have a good final here. Claire Hendra and Taylor Bruce, of course, beaten 2 years ago by Selena Goddard and Caitlin Inch in Christchurch. So, 2 pretty good combinations out there, really, Val, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. All very good players.
And the greens, you were at Sumner, I know, yesterday, as we watched this bowler. Claire Hendra is going to first lower, sit on the jack level. That's the shot. It was definitely down on the head. Sandra Keith now been around the scene for a while. I think now is Canterbury selector, I think. On the forehand, trying to get down to that bowl of Claire Hendries from the Silver String Club in Wellington looks to beat on the wider side and won't come back from there. The rink this morning that they played on, Val just seemed to have on one hand a bit of a struggle to get back to the centre line. You know these Burnside greens pretty well. The surface is excellent, as it always is. It just, if you don't get that centre line, you can struggle, can't you?
Yeah, well, I don't know whether bit of breeze maybe coming up. Seemed calm when I first arrived here this morning, and this green plays outstanding in in most conditions. But if there's no wind, it's probably one of the nicest greens I've ever played on.
Certainly is.
Yeah.
I know a lady sitting close to me won a world title, a couple of world titles in fact, didn't she, on that?
Yes, so it's always going to be close, dear to my heart.
Yeah,
Isn't it,
absolutely, on this particular green.
Yep.
So, way back in 2008.
That's right.
So,
It's like a lifetime ago.
oh no, well, hey, you're still there, Val, and deservedly so. And it's just great to have you back in New Zealand. As we see this bowler, Sandra Keese, going to fall under the line, and it does, and it's the one to the Taylor Bruce Claire Hendra combination.
It certainly is a green. If you don't take your green, you will be punished. If you come inside your line.
Absolutely. Talking to Alex in that first game this morning, it's just you fall under the line.
Yeah.
It's suicide.
Yeah.
You've really got to find that line, and you start dragging yourself under the line. You know, you pay for it for sure. Of course, the ex-Burnside greenkeeper is now residing in Nelson, isn't he? And is greenkeeper at Stoke? Is that right?
Yeah, Glenn.
Yeah.
Glenn Millett. Yeah, he is now the greenkeeper at Stoke Bowling Club in Nelson.
And Glenn was the greenkeeper here at Burnside for a long, long time, and always presented really great greens. And same at Sumner yesterday, Val, and I've got to give credit to the green staff that they can get the cotchler right to the ditch board. You haven't got bare patches out like a metre out, or they've really got the coverage right.
I do believe it's a new green. It's the first season.
Green at Sumner.
At Sumner.
Really?
That's been played on. Yeah, well, that's what I was told yesterday.
For those that haven't been there, it's well worth, if you're in the Canterbury area, to drive down and have a look at that.
It's stunning.
That one green Sumner club. It certainly is stunning, isn't it? Well,
it
that
really
clubhouse that they've built with that panoramic view is just...
it just looks so modern.
Oh, it does. It's tremendous. So if you're in the Canterbury area, and I'd suggest pop into Sumner, and they'll make you more than welcome to have a look at this the new complex they've got there. Only a one green club, but by goodness.
Great bowl, buddy.
Here's Taylor Bruce.
Yeah,
That's it. Just got that right arc on the bowl. And you're right about that wind as well, because the green on that backhand side is certainly wider than what it was earlier on this morning. So obviously you can see now, can't you, that
flopped against the bias.
Yeah. So you will pay for it, won't you, if you don't?
That's right. Yeah.
So Bev Morrell, that bowl, great weight, but
there could be a lot of good weight wasted.
That's a good, very well said, Phil. And it will also be keeping you up to date as well of the men's singles semi-finals, which are just getting underway. I can see Mike Galloway and Kelvin Scott. That should be a great game. And Taylor Bruce just comes right on that centre line on the 2 metre mark. And you can see the flags and that out there now. Val, there's wind out there, isn't there?
There is. It's not bad if it's a prevailing wind. If you get it coming from one direction, you can actually play to it. So when the wind swirls, makes things a bit tricky.
Bev Morrell with a bit of speed on, needs to get the jack on the way through. Had a good line as they change over on this, the second end of 18, and you can see there straight away with those 3 bowls of Bev Morrell, the cost of missing that centre line, can't you?
That's right. Yeah.
They quickly really become ineffective bowls, don't they? Really. And from Claire Hendra's point of view now, she covers down that side.
That's right. I mean, she'll be looking to beat the 2 bowls that have come beyond the jack in case of the trail.
And as we predicted, exactly what Claire Hendra is doing, going out on that forehand side to try and get that cover.
I mean, the other thing too, obviously, with the green being quick,
Yep, well,
the
you got
jack
clear.
moves quite a distance if it gets a nudge.
There's a good bowl here from Claire Hendra, falling low with the jack, but
Starter.
it's still pretty handy. Of course, Sandra Keith will certainly persevere on that backhand if she can sit on the bowl to get any jack movement. That's what she needs. Taylor Bruce bowl is sitting jack level. Certainly got the bowl out on a very wide arc. I'll come back from there looking at where the Taylor Bruce bowls came on that. This end, they're certainly going to. She's getting the jack. She's got the jack. Well played.
That's it.
And it certainly.
I can play up under mine. I like that.
You need to, you certainly got to use the paddock, got to use the green out there, Val, don't you? You can see that from those bowls just played there.
That's it. I mean, you've got to play the mindset, play the perfect draw. If you do get a bit of a gust and it pulls you across, there's a chance that you might get the jack. But you're really not. As soon as you start thinking, look to trail the jack, tighten the line, and you don't get that weight, you are history.
So Claire Hendra playing on that line, a weighted line, removed her own bowl, while the other bowls of the Taylor Bruce side, but it was more than likely a good weighted shot to try and play to get to the shot bowl.
That looks tighter.
That definitely is tighter, Val. You're right.
Yep.
Yeah, you can
I hadn't got the weight.
but you can see out of the hand, can't you? That if it's so does she attack again because the back.
I don't.
Sandra's shot bowl was mine.
You don't want to clip
Sorry, say
that
that
front
again.
bowl.
The front, you're correct. You don't want to lose that front bowl because
You're
you
going to be fall down.
absolutely.
She's that
So I'll be
short, draw like
looking to
that.
just
Second shot's a good shot.
second
So
shot's a good
It's
shot.
just because it's the only one in the head.
There.
You might want to slow it down. Even if you're sort of running into it, you might sort of scoop along.
You'd have heard Taylor Bruce there in the microphone on the. Both Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra are mic'd here, and giving us Val had suggested that precautionary shot, really to play. Second shot's a good shot, and
It's a safer weight though.
Sometimes, I mean, first end or second end, like one down, that's okay. I mean, you may as well use that last bowl to look for the perfect line.
and you can't score on every end, can
You're
you?
not going to score on every
Yeah.
end. So use that, don't try too hard to get the shot. Just try and dead draw it on the other hand. And if you don't, learn from where your bowl finishes.
So Sandra Keith on that good wide line. How's the weight going to be? Looks to get under the front bowl. How far is it going to run? That'll count, that's for sure. Well played. That, and it's certainly a pretty wide mark out there, isn't it? You really got to put your bowl out there, that's for sure.
Indeed. I think, in these conditions, I'd rather err on the wide side than
Absolutely.
err on the narrow.
Well, you go on the narrow side, your bowls is going to become
Yeah.
completely ineffective, isn't it? So, yeah, it's... now, again, it's interesting. We're seeing all day, or this morning, both sides persevering with the jack right down towards the 2 metre mark. And Bev Morrell, certainly one of the stalwarts of Canterbury over many, many years. And has played, well, never played for New Zealand, but has certainly
That's a
been
beautiful draw.
perfect draw, isn't it?
Yeah.
But as you'd well know, over the years, Val, very, very hard competitor. And Taylor Bruce, of course, part of the New Zealand squad and vying to make sure get herself a spot in the Commonwealth Games and getting through to with no international play, getting through to the final would certainly help the cause as well, wasn't it? Doesn't it, Val?
Yeah, it's a tough one. This is going to be a tough one for the selectors, I think, for Birmingham. We just haven't had the opportunity to be together because of the COVID. Our original preparations for our camps all been postponed.
Everything's changed numerous times, hasn't it?
It's just
another good bowl here from Bev Morrell, just coming back outside that centre line on the 2 metre mark. Yeah, absolutely correct. Like, I don't know how many times I've changed my airfares to to go to the Gold Coast for the
Yeah.
Trans-Tasman World Championships. Everything that was looking forward to a bumper 18 months, 2 years, certainly all came adrift. And going to be under the line here is Taylor Bruce. Going to have good weight, but just missing that line slightly. Viv Morel with one sitting jack level and one a metre behind. And stalking, this is going to out of the hand. This looks as though it's going to disappear under the centre line, and it will. Might get up towards the Taylor Bruce bowl and sit on it. No, it just goes by.
Still in play, handy.
Oh, it's still handy there, isn't it?
Handy position.
And no disrespect to age at all, Val, but it's great to see that. If you look at Bev Morell's delivery, she's still.
I was just looking at that, just seeing how well she grasped that bowl.
Yeah, and it's still smooth out of the hand, wasn't it? There was no. Well, Taylor Bruce is on the outside line here, is she? Yeah, but that's not bad. Goes in behind the head, just ran outside the Bev Morel bolt, and she won't be too unhappy about that. So, singles tomorrow, Val. You're at Finn Dalton, correct?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I'm not one for
Okay. I'm saying you're
checking the draw too soon.
I'm saying you're at Fendleton, all right?
I'm at Fendleton, yeah.
And we'll be, throughout the next 2 days as well, we'll be bringing you coverage of the Paras and New Zealand, the blind event, which is also going on in conjunction here on the two front greens. And, of course, for them as well, there's the Commonwealth Games positions and team up for grabs. So an important event for them as we watch this bowler on the third of 18 ends of Sandra Keith. And
they're coming back a long way.
They're coming back a long way from out there. And that bowler, Sandra Keith, will make two.
Good.
Just sits just behind the jack line. But so it's interesting. See Claire Hendra is going to
see what's happening down this hand.
Yeah, you can try that forehand sign to see whether, because it's certainly a big wide swinger, isn't it, on that backhand belt?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look
pretty sure from my experience, this forehand is bigger.
Well, it's a pretty good line, this bowl.
It's a good bowl.
It's a good bowl. That'll be second shot.
Good second.
Just finishing lower the jack. See that yellow bowl of Bev Morell's shot. They're very yellow, aren't they, those bowls?
Yeah.
They stand out. Sandra Keith now electing to go to that forehand side. How far is this coming back? Morell's keen on it.
Handy.
It's coming back, working its way back now towards that centre line. And that's going to be close. You'll see when the camera comes to stop. You'll see. Close to the second. You'll want to hear Taylor Bruce just say then, close to two.
Take it back to my bowls.
That's a good call.
So looking
Fine that we channel.
And just on the draw, get movement on the jack by half a metre is all in favour of the Hendra Bruce combination. Looks to be on a pretty tight line.
It did look on a tight line.
Look tight out of the hand with that weight too. So Bev Morel, the season campaigner. Let's get some cover down to those two Taylor Bruce bowls. And just heard then Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra talking, saying it looks nice.
She's going back.
Get the cover on these bowls.
It's a great bowl. Good cover bowl.
Yeah, very good cover bowl. It's only a one-shot opportunity now down through there. If she goes with it, of course. Claire Hendra did remark it looks pretty inviting, and it does look inviting, no doubt, from the mat as well. Good crowd in here at Burnside. And we'll be bringing you updates of the men's singles semi-finals, which has just got underway. And, of course, then later on this afternoon, we will have the men's singles final, where I'll be joined by Brett O'Reilly will be here with me for the afternoon of the blue ribbon event, I suppose one could say. And as
I think she'll be playing with bigger weight here.
well, hold that. If she runs on that line, she's got to play with more weight, doesn't she? Really, to hold the line through to the jack. And you're right, Val. It's got more weight on it, and you can see it's sitting outside that centre line there now, going though.
Yeah. A lot. Oh, good.
Just looking to see whether it's 2.
Yeah.
Bev Morrell going to measure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go for it.
I think I read at one stage Bev had something like 31 Canterbury titles or something like that.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me.
It was a number. It was a number like that. I'm sure it was around.
2.
It is 2. So an early lead to the Sandra Keith Bev Morrell combination, 4-1 after 3 ends. But as you said earlier on in the commentary, Taylor Bruce and Key Henry yesterday against Gail Melrose and Debbie White, they were, I think it was 8 or 9-0 behind early on in the match, and they clawed their way back to win that. And then they won their 2 other matches yesterday by 14-13. I think it was 1 shot in both those 2 games. So pretty good combination. As others, Sandra Keith, Bev Morrell, I think, to go through unbeaten to here, to get to here, you've obviously played well.
That's right.
You don't get to finals by accident, Val, do you?
No, you don't. So both pairs deserve their spot in the final. It was a good game. I saw the game against Dale Rayner and Cara
yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, yesterday afternoon. It was a good game.
So good opening bowl here on the 4th end by Bev Morrell, finishing right on that centre line. Taylor Bruce, who started her bowls, isn't it? So here, Val Smith and Taylor Bruce
Going that way.
are playing. Well, hopefully
Feel it going that
they got
way.
the chance of playing together in the Commonwealth Games. And when Val won her 2 gold medals here in 2008, that was the sort of the thing that spurred Taylor Bruce, after watching Kelsey Cottrell, to take up playing lawn bowls. And as a youngster,
Okay, nice.
this is good bowling from Bev Morrell. This is pretty good stuff to start off the head. You got
Taylor.
one on, one just in front. It's pretty consistent, and you can see there is a bit of breeze out there. Not as far as Bev Morrell's concerned.
That's your track.
It's the track, just the weight.
Pretty sure this is. I played the Interclub Sevens semi-final last season. I'm pretty sure I was skipping the 4 on this rink, in this direction that they're going in now. The hand they're playing, from memory, I think was my favourite hand in
Oh,
the
there you go. There you go. So, well, there's a good line here again from Bev Morrell, and it'll go by the head, but
Yes.
Sandra Keith's not going to
That's-
complain
no.
about that at all, because
When you're
How far
holding
away are
2.
they?
no, you're holding 2.
Back bowls that
and-
far. Back
Yep.
bowls that far.
So you'd hear Taylor Bruce asking where the bowls are situated, and she's got about 18 inches, which might sound easy, but it's certainly not, especially got a bit of breeze as well. Just a matter of how this farthest bowl's going to come back now,
Trying.
trying to get back to that centre line to where those bowls are.
It's a mighty effort.
It's a great effort, needs to sit on the bowl.
Good
Second
bowl.
shot as well played from Taylor Bruce. Because Taylor plays here at the Burnside Club.
Oh my goodness.
Don't tell any funny jokes, girls. Good crowd in here at Burnside, and I'm sure we're going to be treated to a great afternoon of finals bowls here at the Summerset Nationals. Of course, after this final of the pairs, we will have the men's singles final. So here's Sandra Keith now on the mat on this, the 4th of 18 ends. Got the bowl out on that good line. Bev Morell's taking interest in this.
Yeah, this is finishing well, isn't it?
It comes towards the jack now, just going to finish slightly lower the jack, but it's a pretty good spot there.
It's either way. You can still slip under that if you like it down there. Otherwise, you've got to track under me, sitting there.
That doesn't count at the moment, does it?
Interesting too, and
No. Yeah, go down here.
the greens I played at in the pairs,
Funny when you
not
see
to
it, it looks like it does count.
let the wind dictate
No.
the green that you play, because often the turning hand was into the wind.
Yeah,
on the green. Oh, they played beautiful. I mean, I can't complain about.
Next one.
Can't use the greens as an excuse for me sitting in this commentary box. Certainly.
Yeah, I agree. And even this morning, I was surprised that Alex and I were sitting here, and it actually took to about N10 before that changed hands, which was and it was the right move to try and make, because you can beat yourself up trying to get it so precise on what you think should be happening.
That's right. I mean, you just got to watch your bowl, watch where it finishes, and make your adjustment from that. Don't let the wind sort of dictate.
Well, Sandra Keith again. She gets a shunt onto this bowl.
Oh, well played.
Well played. That's made at least a couple, I would say.
Still
3.
like
No, that's
Like it,
Taylor's
maybe
bowl
low.
hanging in there. I don't know how long it.
favourite hours for second still.
Oh, still just the
Yeah.
one.
You've
You
been
heard Taylor
on
Bruce
one shot.
say. So on the backhand is Claire Hendrip down on the head. I'm going to ask
Is it a bit of grass?
trying pretty hard. Will it get back with the
Just a
weight?
bit quick. Oh, don't need that bowl.
Well, I was just going to say, Phil, I just thought the other hand might have been on the draw, although the bowl's in front, might have been a better option to possibly use the bowls, because you clip the back of that bowl of Taylor Bruce's.
I mean, it's safe. Like, I think the hand she's playing is safe. You just got to be, be one. What is your objective? Are you trying to dead draw the shot? It's only if you're trying to arrive and look
Arrive with a
then,
yard.
Then she might. Then it becomes dangerous. But if you're just dead draw, that's what you're thinking.
So Claire
She's safe.
Hendrip
Looks
Diff-
tight.
looks tight. You're right. Val needs to hold up past the yellow bowl of Bev Morell's. Not going to do so. Doesn't want to tip it over, but ooh,
Good effort.
good effort.
Probably wouldn't have been too bad if just had a foot of green.
Yeah.
2 feet of green.
Yeah, she nearly snuck in.
5-1 to Bev Morell, Sandra Keith. Coach. So, good crowd in here at Burnside. And I'm sure we're going to be treated to, well, this weather continues. And let's hope it does. And we've got a few more days left, of course. Women's singles, say, gets underway tomorrow. And men's pairs, and there's a very, very studious.
There's my.
Yes, your
there's
group.
my mate.
Your group there. I see Lisa Bordeaux, Gail Melrose, and Mary Campbell.
They've been great
All sitting there.
housemates this week.
And of course, you're back here in the weekend after that.
Yeah, back down here for the Burnside Piers.
Got the
Looking forward
Sarah?
to that. Back with my lifetime friend Joe Edwards.
Sure is. It's been
Yeah.
many, many years, that combination, isn't it?
That's right.
And of course, Joe sort of retired now from internationals.
Still playing good.
I was just going to say, And good opening bowl here
Very
from
good start
Taylor
there.
Bruce, sitting right on the 2 metre
It's a
mark.
good start of that.
I'd say if Joe Edwards was to have a change of mind,
Yes, please.
the door would be open very quickly.
That's right.
And but Joe is enjoying, obviously, being back in New Zealand, playing bowls at the Nelson Club, and enjoying the life of Nelson.
Yep.
Bev Morrell equal to the task. Look at this, and draws right behind. You can't
Yeah.
get it much better than that, Val, can you?
Top bowl.
No,
There
that's
you
right.
go,
You saw how far back that came from, didn't you?
Certainly came back a long way.
Yeah.
So 5, but 18 ends, of course, in this final. Playing the 50 now. So here's Taylor Bruce, the Burnside player, on her backhand, trying to reach to that well-played bowl from Bev Morrell. It's on a fairly good line. It's on a very good line, in fact. Just going to drop past the bowl, but it gave it.
It'll be good. I mean, Taylor's starting to get her line now. So once she starts getting confident with that line, she'll probably start making that weight adjustment.
Well, the good thing about Burnside is you know, once you find your line, it's going to play in your favour, isn't
That's
it?
right.
You know, if you struggle to find your line, you'll
Yeah.
pay for it. But once you do find your line, it will treat you. It'll treat you well. Another
That's
good
right.
bowl here from Bev Morrell, finishing lower the jack, but certainly, and that's what as a peer skip, that's the sort of, when you change over, that's the sort of head that you want to have to play to, because Bev Morrell at this stage is certainly doing a good starting. Oh, this looks tight
So now you need weight to carry it.
to hold that line. It's not going to.
I think too, in a pairs combination,
Taylor.
from a leads perspective, I think skips are just wanting for that dead draw. Don't try too hard to get the shot in that situation. If you can get me something jack level,
Absolutely.
within around about a foot.
Well, we saw this
It's
morning.
something to work off, because as soon as you start chasing it from a lead,
You pay.
you pay.
You pay, do
And it leaves your
Yeah.
skip with
You
not
pay.
a lot to work
Well,
with.
this morning in that semi-final, it was pretty close early on, and then the mother and daughter combination were holding the shot, but they'd put themselves in a position with only one bowl on the head.
Yeah,
Claire Hendra played the
plucked
bowl,
it out.
played it out, scored 4, and from then on, it was That was literally game over, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, especially at this stage of the competitions, because you are against, great players.
Well, when when the gate gets opened
That's right.
and they can take advantage of it, you're going to pay for it. So Sandra Keith showing all of her experience in Devon, really to try and get cover down on that jack trail, but fell short. And of course, from Claire Hendra's point of view as well, you're right, Val, you don't want to be trying to chase the jack on the low line, because you can, you still be playing it on the draw, and if anything else happens, that's a bonus, isn't it? So,
Area.
on a good line here is Claire Hendra, just going to fall low on weight.
Good putter.
So, I mean, it's not a bad line. Just needs to find that way. Both of them are just sort of like, just struggling to find their range at the moment, but I'm sure that they will, with patience.
Sandra
eventually.
Keith changing the hand out on that wider side. Not going to come all the way back into a counting position. In fact, will stay up, will it? It's going right under the number, right under that number 19. So Claire Hendra doesn't have to improve by much, does she, from that first bowl?
No, just have to.
It's only just a metre of weight, isn't it?
Well, how's her weight? She's on a bit of a little poaching line.
It's on a
but-
good line down through there. And it's going to be close to it.
Goody putt.
It's
And it's still one down, but a great effort. Not much, good.
just the one. I think.
Oh, Bev Morrell didn't give much away there, but
It's kind of good and bad. isn't it, that bowl?
Well, it is.
So-
It's actually
Yeah.
it's on that draw line. It's bad, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're outside it, you're not going to draw the shot, and if you're inside it, you need a bit of luck.
Yeah, well, it kind of only leaves you really with all you can do is try and dead draw, hope you get on the back of your bowl and turn it.
Clear.
Oh, or possibly not. They've got something else in mind. Or that's not made it any easier.
That last bowl
No.
has cut that hand off really for what the shot we were talking about, the traditional shot, so to speak.
Check the angle.
So checking the angle to see whether play down there with weight.
Even if it's, you know, clips the jack.
I'm thinking in here.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The challenge here, though, Val, of course, is will the bowl you get the bowl to hold up on that narrower line, don't you, to get there, which means you're 2 down. So it means you've got to play with a bit more weight.
Yeah.
Because the line now is pretty tight down there, isn't it? So it means that there has to be, I would say, quite a bit of weight.
So getting inside edge. Off
Yeah,
that third
off,
shot.
off that third shot, get inside edge to the jack.
Tough, but
5-1 after we come to the last bowl on this, the 15th. 5-1, Sandra Keith and Bev Morrell leading Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra. And as we predicted, playing with that lot of weight, going to be outside, gets the flick on it. Well, took one out. So it wasn't far away, really, from getting a good result.
Oh, yeah,
No.
still mic'd up.
And shortly we'll get you an update on those men's singles. Colin and Tamara sitting behind us here, the brains of the organisation. They're going to do just that for us in about a moment. We'll give you an update on those men's singles semi-final. And we'll be bringing you that final live this afternoon. I'll have Brett O'Reilly with me. This is a real change of length, isn't it, Val? It's by accident or choice or...
just a bit shorter.
Yeah. But for a player of Bev Morrell's experience, it's just another jack on the green.
Oh, I know, it's just another day at the office for Bev.
She's out on the wider side.
Oh, he's got good weight.
Weight's
Just,
good.
Oh, handy weight. Not wasted.
So with this change of length as well, Val, if you're Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra, this is where you want to try and grasp that opportunity, don't you? So then you can get you can get some control because
That's right.
this becomes important.
Well, probably more so like because Bev's been,
Great
you know,
start,
she's
Taylor.
been kicking off pretty good.
And straight away,
Yeah,
see
yeah,
that,
and Taylor's jumped on it.
and that length can make such a big difference because you're changing your line. And I see that bowl of Bev Morrell, just how far it's out on that line. So here's a quick update, and I can tell you that Mike Galloway is leading Kelvin Scott 8 shots to 7, 8-7.
And again, that
And
last
Tony
one,
Grantham
Taylor,
and
hold it.
Andy Curtin, it's 9-8 to Tony Grantham at this point. So nothing in those men's semi-finals at this stage, Val, is there? 8-7 to Mike Galloway, the defending
bad,
champion,
is it?
over Kelvin Scott. And Tony Grantham up against Andy Curtin. It's 9-8 at this point to Tony Grantham. So
Weight was pretty heavy.
anybody's. So Bev Morrell, third bowl on this, the 6th end. Ooh, it's certainly under the... You can... One of the good things about sitting in this, watching the monitor, you can very quickly see,
Yes,
Yeah, I
that's
think
right.
that's safer.
very, very quickly, you can see what's happening with the bowl. Taylor Bruce sticking to the safer hand, safer option on the backhand.
Oh,
Yeah, well, she knew straight away.
Yeah.
You heard,
the grunt.
yeah, you heard the
Or
crunch.
the
You knew
groan,
this.
I should say the groan.
A blocker in the line.
Yeah, maybe. Sorry.
So
I'm going to stay down and see what Sandra
Sandra Keith, no doubt, I would say play that backhand, try and
straight.
reach up to that shot bowl.
She played the backhand very well. It was a second end, wasn't it? She played 3 very good bowls coming down in this direction.
So you heard Bruce saying she should have given the bowl more weight. Well, I think there's a bit more weight and a bit more different
Yeah,
green as well.
A bit more of both, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So Sandra Keith on the mat, former New Zealand player, and staying with that surprises me that
nudge the
that-
shot bowl in. A second shot.
that get on to Bev Morell's bowl, get a turn out of it, which she's going to
she
do.
is caught.
She's go-
Oh.
well, it
Oh,
fell
follow
over.
through?
I think it made shot.
Not quite.
Oh, looking at that angle, you'd still favour the Taylor Bruce bowl, wouldn't you?
But unlucky there.
She was. She played that exceptionally well.
Yeah, agreed.
So Claire Hendra saying we need another bowl there. And although it's only the 60 end, Val, you're 6-1 down. You want to get your confidence. You got to score, don't you?
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like sometimes when if you're playing an end and your opponent's got one right on the jack and you haven't, sometimes leave that bowl sitting on the jack. Use some bowls to work hard to find your line.
Yep,
like one down
absolutely.
is not the worst thing that can possibly happen.
No.
So just you take some time in the early stages of the game to really work on that line and that weight, feeling of that weight. So then you can use that to your advantage as the game goes on. If you try too hard to get the shot and you start coming under the line or
Absolutely.
going too heavy, you tend to play that way throughout the entire game. You're just fighting. You feel like you're fighting with yourself.
And you finish up
So
playing nothing shots, really,
You end
don't
up
you?
playing nothing shots. So just relax, be patient.
Well, Piers is all about effective bowls, isn't it?
That's right.
It's all about effective
Yeah.
bowls. You can, the lead's job is you rightly say, Val, it's not always about having the shot, but it's about having effective bowls. That you've got the confidence in your skip. As you and Joe for many, many years, you knew very well that on a percentage basis, I'll put it round the head and I'll back Joe to get the result.
Exactly. It's like any sport. Everyone's got a job to do in there. Any team sport, you've all got a role to play in your team. I mean, in football you've got your strikers. They're scoring your goals.
Yeah, a little bit. Just draw
And
it.
you're like
Yep.
in a game of bowls as a lead. You're setting them up for your skip. I was happy for Joe to play the big shots, and
Well,
I wanted Joe to be a superstar because
helped you too, mate.
if I could help her to be a superstar.
Yeah, helped you. And here you are, we're in 2022 now. And
Finishes.
what year did you play your first game for New Zealand? What year was it?
It's all right there.
2003 I debuted for the first team.
2003. And then 2004, was that Manchester?
That 2004 was World Champs in Leamington Spa.
Oh, Lemon Spa, yeah.
UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those who haven't been to the UK, it's very, very Leamington on Spa, which is the headquarters now for English bowls. It's a beautiful setting. It's like a big park where they've got a multitude of greens
5
there.
greens, I think it is.
It's a really it's a lovely setting. It's just the greens there can be very challenging at certain times. But to be fair, now I think they've become more akin to international speeds and trying to get the game more competitive for a lot more, isn't it? Because before it was a real 8-9 seconds in the UK.
It was more like a council, because I think they're like council-run
Correct.
greens.
Correct.
And, so they're not sort of privately owned with their own greenkeepers and everything. They're sort of like, but
Like some of them.
I guess too, like depending where you are in the world, I mean, you can only prepare greens to what the climate and
Absolutely.
allows
Absolutely.
you to. So hence that's why we've got Cotula.
So here's a good bog coming here from Sandra Keith. He's going to sit inside the Taylor Bruce bog. Careful. It was the shot anyway. So, yeah, I think the right decision. Let's take the one. Yeah. And score. Get the mat. Decide the length.
Oh, they're fine there.
And then, of course, you can go to Scotland where, boy, they're different again.
Yeah, they're very. I mean, I think Scotland, UK, only from my experience, I could be totally wrong because I've only played in very limited area, places like Leamington Spa and the UK, Glasgow and Ayr in Scotland. And, well, for me, coming from our greens, I couldn't see a great deal of difference in the two. They're just slow.
Oh, absolutely.
I think the thing that's also where we're spoilt is they have a lot more tracking on their greens as well.
Yeah, do.
So ours run a lot truer, a lot smoother.
Here,
we are spoilt.
Here, it's early on in the game, but Taylor Bruce be disappointed there because she lost the jack. Really trying to get the jack to that 2 metre mark to play the full length and lost the jack. And I noticed straight away that Bev Morrell. So here we go. That's not the length that they were going to play, and the mat's in a different position of where they were going to play.
Probably brought the mat up a bit, has
she?
Yep. And
So it's the importance once you get that mat that you get it right to control the length that you and your skip are confident in. But these two players, well, all four players, would adapt.
Yeah.
There's no great drama really. It's more a bit of a mind game. And Taylor Bruce will finish jack level, 3/4 length hit. Bev Morrell now on her backhand.
She's out there, isn't she?
Yes, she's out on that line of where we've certainly seen that the bowl coming certainly back to that centre line, and Julie does so. Just had a metre of weight on, but right to that centre line.
She's probably loving it, taking her back to the days of the super grip.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what we were used to seeing.
Bev Morrell.
Oh, I don't know if it's out enough.
I don't think that's out enough. You'll see it now. You see the price you pay for that.
Don't worry.
And because you and Joe, the Burnside Peers follows these nationals, of which we're covering, of course, and it'd be great. Joe's back here playing, and of course was a member of Burnside when based in Christchurch, so a bit of a homecoming.
Yeah. I'm looking. Excuse me. I'm looking forward to the Burnside Peers. We had a good time here last year.
It's a good event. So yes, Taylor Bruce just said throw it out a bit wider. That's for sure. As Bev Morrell fell a metre short with her first. Her second, sorry.
It looks a bit of grass.
You're correct, Val. This looks a bit.
Might have added the weight too much.
Grass.
So it's coming
that's
back.
What she needs to remember. That's the line.
And that line's not going to change.
That's not going to change.
So this, whether it be as well to help you, whether it be a mark on the green or whatever, you know where that line is, and you come through the middle of that mark, that. Or even it can be in your head. You know where that mark is, that breaking point is, and it makes such a big difference. Otherwise, you can spend 18 ends floundering around, can't you, trying to find the consistency of that line.
That's right.
And this morning we saw Claire Hendra as an example. She was end after end putting 3 bowls within a metre continuously, and that's all because the confidence in the line.
Well, there's only two parts to the equation, isn't there? It's only line and length.
Yeah.
And once you find your line, that's one half of the equation solved. So then all you have to think about after that is controlling that weight.
So here now is Claire Hendrick trailing 6 shots to 2 after 6 of the 18 ends in this final of the Summerset Women's National Pairs here at the Burnside Greens in Christchurch. And it's going to get past the front bowler, Bev Morels. That's the key, but it's got a bit of speed on this bowler, Claire Hendrick. And we'll drift by Sandra Keith. One down. She won't be worried about that on the backhand. It looks a pretty good line.
No.
Line hasn't got the weight, has it? Just can't quite see with Taylor. No, yeah, it's going to be 2 metres lower on weight.
I'm not sure what bowls
that Sandra Keith uses.
Yeah, Sandra's playing with, but they seem to be taking a lot of grass.
They've definitely got a different arc than the other bowls, haven't they? The other
it's definitely coming from wider. But it could be technique. A lot of your...
Technique is a big part of it, isn't it? You know, that. And
good bowl.
Getting past here as Claire Hendrick gets past the bowl. And Taylor Bruce indicates, yes, that'll count. Holding 2. So, as Val rightly said, Sandra Keith certainly plays on that wider line. And that was on that wider line, getting past these bowls. Has got the weight again. No, needs another roll. Bev Morel was certainly. So Taylor Bruce saying still like 2.
Look to beat this orange. Even if you roll that, it's probably going to go onto you. So just chuck it out. You'll come back.
Yeah, that's good call from Taylor Bruce. Just get your bowl out there. Don't be frightened of it, and let the bowl do the work.
I mean, they're in a situation that they don't have to. There's absolutely no reason to be narrow. You can draw the shot wide at the tail.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, as Taylor did say, draw out to that yellow bowl, but that's a nothing bowl to be fair. That's so we'll see Sandra Keith. That same shot for Sandra Keith and the advantage Sandra Keith's got.
I think she's going to play weight through that target, the short target.
So here is Sandra Keith now on the backhand. It's certainly
narrow arriving, I think.
Can't quite see. Taylor Bruce just obscuring things a bit. So got onto her own bowl.
Wow.
Got onto her second bowl and turned it in for shot. At 7-2 now to Bev Morel and Sandra Keith at 7 of the 18 ends in the Summerset National Women's Pairs Final. Earlier we saw in the semi-final, we saw Claire Hendra and Taylor Bruce. They won their semi-final over the mother and daughter combination of Kirsten Rowe and Emily Miller from the Burnside Club. And Sandra Keith and Bev Morel, they defeated Natasha Grimshaw and Hannah Rio de Silva. And we'll keep you up to date with those men's semi-finals of the singles. At that last report we had both semi-finals. Very, very close. Only one shot in them in the race to 21. And that's Kelvin Scott playing Mike Galloway and Tony Grantham playing Andrew Curtin. You can see on your screens there. Galloway I can see on the mat, and good opening bowl here from Bev Morel.
Very good.
It sits right on the jack on that 2 metre mark.
Probably better down here.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what I was saying about the role of the lead. See, so Taylor's now changing her hand. If she's not comfortable on the forehand because she feels she's struggling, understandable. But if it's from the aspect of trying to get the shot, not necessary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was just going to make the point, Val, when the Taylor, Bruce and Claire were talking about it. Are we trying to make it too
Taylor.
challenging to ourselves. Let's get
Yeah.
second shot.
Let's get a good second.
Let's get some
play-
bowls around the head.
Yeah, let's play the best side of the rink and get a,
Yeah,
let's just build that up.
and I just thought then, well,
Yeah,
because really what you're doing is you're leaving the door open as well, aren't you?
That's
for
right.
Bev Morrell and Sandra Keith, while you're trying to sort of, flummox around. Stay on your hand, get a couple of second shots, and then you can do something.
find a rhythm.
Not swap and change,
Not
because
swap and change.
you can pay for that, can't you? And Bev Morrell and Sandra Keith sort of been from the old school. I'll say that they'll just say, right, we can draw around a bowl or we can draw under a bowl. We're not going to. It's not rocket science.
That's right.
So Taylor Bruce, her second bowl, still going to come under the line and finish short. So here we are, Kelvin Scott up against Mike Galloway in the race to 21, and I can tell you that it is Kelvin Scott who is leading Mike Galloway 11-9. 11-9 to Kelvin Scott over Mike Galloway, the defending champion. And in the other semi-final of Tony Grantham and Andy Curtin, it is 12 all. 12 all in the race to 21. So both those semi-finals, they could go either way, couldn't they? There's nothing. Two shots.
Seeing those scores, I mean, we knew before they went out that it was going to be good games. Both were going to be good games.
And living up to that.
That's exactly right.
And that also means that you're going to have a good final. So here
They're
now.
still not out, I don't think. We better wait.
We better wait,
not.
but still going to finish under that shot bowl.
Oh, great effort, Taylor.
Well, we can say I hear what you're saying, Claire, but look at where the bowls are now as you
That's
change
right.
over.
And in relation to the centre line,
It-
well, the new centre line,
Yeah. So you could literally say, in no disrespect, that those three really ineffective bowls to the position
the
of the head
last
right
bowl
now.
probably, say the last bowl was the first bowl she played, then you could work to make your
Correct.
correction from that.
But if I'm, the old story, I'm 7-2 up, I'm holding the shot, I'm in a position where I can build the head, and you chase the shot, so to speak.
Yeah.
And Sandra Keith will just want to be, her view will be she doesn't want to give a shoulder or something for them to rub off or run off, just as we predicted is capable of. There we go, right on top, and literally a one bowl target now in the draw. So the pressure's really on Claire Hendra, and it all starts at the front. And the danger of not finding that line.
Not far away.
There's a good effort here though from
Wait
Claire
to
Hendra.
hold it up.
How's the weight going to get down to the shot bowl and the
It's a very
jack?
good bowl.
A fantastic bowl from Claire Hendra. Got a touch off that front bowl and moves it aside. Bev Morrell having a look at who's got the shot. Be pretty close. Very close as we thought. But well played there from Claire Hendra. So Sandra Keith persevering on that backhand. Looks to have quite a bit of weight, and it
You're
is.
looking to sit the bowl, play it like it's one down.
Play it as
Sit
one
the
down, set the.
Still just that same shot,
It's
isn't
still
it?
the same shot. You can get off the edge of yours, good.
So Claire Hendrick now, due to her good play, has got something to play to. May well have the shot, but certainly gives them a scoring chance. And that's on a wider line, Val, isn't it?
Yeah, probably more the weight. Probably a bit quicker, I think.
Because that weight's literally right back to the,
Yeah,
not quite the ditch, but it's only a metre off. So Sandra Keith now, we're not sure who's got the shot, but there's still a good chance here for Sandra Keith to sit the side bowl.
oh, she's coming tight.
That's
How's her
it
weight?
looks tight. Need to have a lot of weight to hold that
no,
up.
not the weight.
Hasn't got the weight. But
Oh no, that's tough when you're.
Still another bowl. Oh, sorry. Oh, that's all good.
Yeah, it was a bit of a fortunate slice.
Yeah.
I think now...
It always seems to happen to you when you're
If
just
mine
struggling a
sits
little
down,
bit,
will
doesn't
be
it?
the shot?
Yep.
No.
So, you're going to play for the jack.
I mean, you can still play that same shot.
I don't think she wants to be
You're not
trying
far away.
anything
There's a
too...
jack.
No,
Come
two,
back.
no.
If
If
she gets her own bowl on the, dead fat,
the
it'll go out.
if her bowl, using her bowl as the guide, so to speak, she gets the inside of that bowl, it's a bonus. It's going to run straight to under that jack line,
I don't think she's got the weight, the
That's-
grass for
that's-
this weight.
tight.
Oh, I need something narrow now.
Oh, don't think so. That's the last one, Yeah. Here's one.
So that was the shot, that bowl that got
Yeah,
that got the lucky slide.
Yeah.
So then it was anybody's after that.
You're clearly fit. I can only hope to be like that.
Yeah, you're right, Taylor. It was the two.
Was that too?
We'll see in a moment. I thought it was two.
2. I
Yeah.
think Taylor called 2.
Yeah, well, 9-2 at the just about the halfway mark. It's not it's certainly not a home run, but it's a nice. It's
It is, but you still got to hold your composure right to the end. I think this is where Bev and Sandra are going to.
Solid though.
Not a lot seems to phase Sandra.
no nothing.
Hey,
Nothing
she just-
does. And this
She's
is
a pretty cool dude.
where Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra don't try and get too technical about it all, trying to
Overthink.
overthink things, because their opposition, they'll just keep drawing. They'll just keep, so you've got to create it. You've got to build the head. You've got to create the opportunities. And, it's you literally put the scoreboard at this point of the game in the back pocket and say, right, well, we have to win the second half.
That's right. And if Bev's dropping them on top of the jack, Taylor just try and get as many around it
Get
as
them
possible.
around.
Don't try
and-
too hard to get... It's a good lesson for inexperienced bowlers, is that it's not how many shots you have during the end, it's how many shots you've got at the end of the end.
That's a very good. It's a very good point, no. Yeah, I've never seen the bowl 3 go on the scoreboard.
That's right.
So Bev Morrell, consistent on the backhand. First bowl finished jack level.
The other thing too is that if opposing leader's going very good, you got to respect that. So you got to, if you start, fatten up the target for your skip to hit something,
Look,
move something, give them something that can be moved to. The jack can be moved to.
Well, you forget about the actual jack itself. You make the position of where you think you're going to make it best for your skip. As we see this bowl of Taylor Bruce's is going to go by. Yeah, you make sure you're handy around it, so as then, you make your kitty is it in a different position on the green or on the head, so as your skip can then have the opportunity. Otherwise, you're just going to waste bowls and
That's right.
And just leave the door open. And to be fair, right now, Bev Morrell off the front is not playing what I'd call under a lot of
That's still that far
draw
away.
pressure.
No, she's the one putting the pressure on Taylor at the moment. So Taylor's just got to relax.
Absolutely.
Just try and beat her last bowl. If she beats the last bowl, she's going to have any of these bowls.
And it's on a good line.
Still just moving a bit, is it?
It's on a good
No.
line,
I mean,
and that's fine.
yeah, in these conditions, that's a good bowl.
That second shot, you'd have heard Claire Hendra say, and that's what they need. Then you got to build it up so you, as I say, that you rightly said that the early bowls on the head never go on the scoreboard, do they?
That's right. No.
Actually, it's quite a decent tailwind down here, isn't there?
So you might have heard Taylor Bruce remarking there, quite a bit of tailwind. Well, the couple they're playing against, they're not going to worry about whether it's a tailwind, sidewind, headwind. They were just two of the players of the, I would say, the old school. Just get on and
Yeah.
if you play it well enough, things look after themselves, don't they? So
They're quite calm conditions compared to some I've played out here at Burnside.
I can, yeah. I've seen Matt's going all that. Yeah, it's
How
been.
many used?
So, a good opening bowl from Sandra Keith, just went past her own. The Bev Morrell bowl and sits close to the jack. Claire Hendrick, yeah, 2 down. How far is this going to come back?
It's
It's a good effort from
it
Claire
is a good
Hendrick.
effort. Lovely track.
The first one.
Yeah, this is a good play as well. Now we've got 2 good shots on the head. Let's just get some cover down, just in case Sandra that jack moves out to the side. Hard for it to do so, but you're holding 2. You're leading 9-2.
Bang! This is coming back. This is
Well,
coming back hard, isn't it?
It is coming back hard and will count.
Yeah.
Well, that could actually be a good bowl for Claire Hendrick. Now,
Left a channel.
yeah, left a channel through the port, and there's the 2 charcoaly bowls of Taylor Bruce's sitting at the back of the head there. And this is one of those shots. Don't be frightened. Back your confidence. Play down through the port. It's been open for you, and she's under the line. Miss Claire Hendrick will just collect a Taylor Bruce bolt, and
Yeah.
well, this becomes a pretty important head now.
I
Val.
think so. I think Sandra's got to get anywhere big. It needs to get probably match the middle bowl.
Yeah,
The
because there's a
first-
one shot, and there's a
Yeah,
one shot result
right,
then, doesn't it?
so- Taylor's furthest back bowl.
And how
Oops,
far is this
so
going to come back?
is
It's
it
certainly
getting back
out on the
far enough?
wider side. Is it going to come back far enough? I'm watching Bev Morrell to see whether it gets.
Yeah, this time.
Doesn't
well,
seem
no,
to have
didn't.
got back, does it?
Well, Claire Hendrick's got to play with that same weight, but just change that line. Gets in the port of those counting bowls. Will certainly give her an opportunity to score.
Under again.
Under again, but it's far quicker. And no, it's going to go. Yeah, that's a big end.
Yeah.
That's it. She's done enough damage with her 3.
12-2. That's
a 10 shot lead
yeah, it's
with 8 to
played
go.
8 to go. And, you know, we saw then, those are the shots like with Claire Hendrick and Taylor Bruce. There was an opportunity to really, the opportunity was there, wasn't it, to play the shot, to get through that. And that's when you've got to make sure, well, just don't play
Yeah.
under the line.
No, you can't play.
You can't play under you can't steer the
gotta
bowl under the line.
No. You got to show the screen a bit
Yeah.
of respect. It's-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a good comment, Val. Yeah. They're all good players out there, but you do have to show the green respect because it's not going to just do it for you.
I mean, of course, there's always. I mean, it's easy sitting up here and.
I've won a number of games sitting
Yeah,
out
yeah,
here. I've never,
commenting.
never lost a game.
Yeah, but it may have been, you know, a technical. She may not have intended to play it down that line. Maybe
Oh,
got it,
absolutely. Absolutely.
you know,
But it's also about game management. As you well know, it's so important, isn't it? And, you know, Bev Morrell to date in this game has really given the Sandra Keith side a very good launching pad. And
yeah. So it would show the difference, say, well, Taylor's actually landed it on the line, but see, Bev, his first bowl here, has erred wide and long.
yeah,
So the bowl is still is in play.
Absolutely.
If the jack gets shifted, that bowl can still come into play. Short, where Taylor,
and
you
well, this bowl here it's going to finish jack level, but anything that
Yep.
finishes right on the jack line now with
Yep.
that front bowl at Taylor's
yeah,
just about closes the door. So
Taylor can got good line. That she has been playing reasonably good. She's starting to get her line a lot better on the side of the rink.
But it's interesting. This is this morning. This is where they struggled as well on that. Both, well, obviously the losing side did, but even Taylor and Claire to try and get consistency. Midway through the game, they changed over, and they had really good consistency. But Bev Morrell, she looks at where that first bowl went now, as she adjusted with her second, and she knows now where that line is and what she needs to do. And exactly what she's done, and back to the centre line. Yeah. And holding 2 shots.
How
and
far behind is that last one?
You can't ask for much more, can you, as a skip?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendrick trailing 12-2.
And the other thing too, like for Bev and Sandra, you know, they know they're playing against 2 good players, so they know that there is that, that chance that these guys are going to click and come back at them. So it's important they don't become complacent, and
they don't leave any 4-shot.
If they're going to go down an end, just go one.
Yeah. And don't leave any 4-shot opportunities.
That's right.
And because as they change over now, you know, it's really become for Claire Hendra a game of singles, because, you know, she's not going to try and drag the jack through that port or whatever.
No. Actually, in the situation, Bev's, you know, they're very good bowls, because it's only really given Claire one option.
One option,
and
isn't it?
Draw the shot.
Draw the shot.
Yeah.
And that's another end gone as well. So Sandra Keith from the Leaston Club, that's going to go under the line, but it's got good weight and finished just low the jack, and it's in the count. And it's 3. So Claire Hendren out on her backhand. Remembering 2 years ago, this combination were runners up to Caitlin Inch and Selena Goddard at Papanui. So
pretty good, isn't it?
There's a pretty good line here. How's the weight? Is it going to run by? Needs to sit in the inside of that bowl. Just slips by. And of course, from the Sandra Keith side, it's the way the head's shaping up. It's a no danger head to them, is it? They can just keep sort of putting bowls in there, because it's not a lot for, as you rightly said, there's only the draw left open, isn't there, for Claire Hendra. Bev Morrell urging this bowl of Sandra Keith on, and go, well, would more than likely go close to county, wouldn't it, Val?
Oh, I don't know. I think she was just trying to dead draw it and probably just overcorrected a little bit on her first.
So important here, Claire Hendra at least gets second shot with this bowl.
I think Sandra's just trying to pile of pressure on her.
Oh, she's doing that. Look at that. That's well under the line. And is it starting to tell a bit, Val?
Well, they haven't really settled in this direction. Neither Claire nor Taylor have settled on a side of the rink, have they?
No, they have not.
We've got Bev just plodding away down on that forehand. Sandra's happy to just
Sandra will just say, I'll just follow along behind you.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I'll play the other side of the ring.
I'll just play the other side. I'll just... And, Bev Morrell has set up a very, very good platform right throughout this match to date. And, look, if you look at it now, there's plenty of room to draw, but that's easy to say that from where we're sitting.
So they've gone, I would rather... If we go down, we go 1 down, rather than if I put it right on the jack and they drive.
And they drive it off. Now
we go 2, possibly 3 down.
We're leaving, and look, there's plenty of room, but there's also lots of holes there too, isn't there?
That's right.
And you put that metre of weight on. You don't want to be short. This becomes now. Well, this end is a big end now. 12-2 down, and you're down on the head again. On the backhand is Claire Hendra. Well, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so, Val.
Sometimes I think we focus too hard on trying to get right on top of the jack.
Beat the bowl.
Just beat the nearest bowl.
There's 3 have been taken out. And Bev Morell's going to have a look at that 4th one.
Yeah. I
No,
favour
you're right,
Clear.
Kevin, though, looking at that 4th.
Do you need a hand?
So, Taylor very politely saying to Bev, do you need a hand? I thought it was very aptly polite to the senior
3.
3.
3 it is. So if we look as well now, Val, you know, the last 4
Oh
ends,
my gosh. Yeah.
we've seen the Sandra Keith side score a 1, a 2 and 2 threes without, you know, we jumped from 7-2 to 12-2 very quickly, and that this now becomes a 15-2,
Yes.
becomes a big challenge.
It's becoming a big ask now. Taylor and Claire have to pull out something special.
Well, the first thing is score.
Not saying it's not impossible.
Absolutely, it's not impossible, but the biggest thing is score, and then go from there, isn't it? You know,
That's right.
because you pay for it if you start chasing. I know at some point in the game you have to look. Oh, gee, Emily Miller and the beaten semi-finals are enjoying an ice cream sitting down the end of the rink there. Yeah, here's Bev Morell again. Not going to be that far away. Just goes past the centre line. Going to sit jack level. And again, so we're now seeing Taylor Bruce
Changing
the hands. And this is what happened this morning.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, if she jumps on it, it'll give her a load of confidence.
I think it's a kinder line, actually, than the other hand to
Yeah.
the
Got it, Taylor.
and
I think I play, and when I was saying this, see, that will probably give her a load of confidence.
I just thought this morning it was certainly coming down this way was certainly a kinder line on the draw.
I played, when I was here for the Interclub, even from a skipping perspective, I played pretty much forehand round the clock.
Yeah, and
If I had to, if the shot was just to draw the shot, choose your hand, I'd play the forehand.
yeah, I think just that the margin of error is.
I think it's also a little just fractionally slower too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this backhand coming up was quite racy.
So Taylor Bruce played a good bowl with her first, and of course needs a lot of good bowls at this point. This is on a slightly wider line, but
And not bad.
not
This
bad because it gets inside this yellow bowl, which is just not quite got a touch on the bowl, but that's fine. That's all right.
Yep. I mean, that would have finished in a good place, in a good home, if it hadn't hit the yellow bowl.
It was only one bowl away from being in a good spot,
Yeah.
really, wasn't it? So 15-2, we've got the Sandra Keith skip side.
And
With-
this isn't bad.
There's a pretty good
Beverly.
bowl here from Bev Morell. Sandra Keith's looking closely at this one as it gets down towards the jack. Have a look at this
Well played.
from the, I'll say, mature-aged Bev Morell.
Yep, and you're playing for
And,
Yep.
oh, that was great bowl. Well, Bev was playing in the great days of Mari Watson and
Exactly, yeah. She played with amazing women players.
yeah, there's Canterbury had some magnificent players here, and so he needs to get the inside here. There's
But good bowls by Taylor that end.
yeah,
Good
absolutely.
lead bowls. And that's what I'm saying, like, she may be one down, but
Well,
she's
there's
got
a chance.
good position
Yep,
there
absolutely.
to create something.
Just over halfway. We can just sit that down. Yeah.
So there's that talk there. We're just slightly down to halfway. We just forget about the scoreboard. Let's just try and build the heads. But Bev Morell, she's seen a lot of bowls come down the tracks of Christchurch over the years, hasn't she? And played with some of the best and played against some of the best. And of course, from Sandra Keith's point of view, you really, and we're just now say, well, okay, we just got to make sure we're not going to drop a 3 or a 4 or put ourselves in.
That's right. They're in a position
know.
they can play the board a bit. So they've got to play smart.
And Sandra Keith will try and get down to where these two bowls of Tata Bruce's are sitting just in behind their head. And here's an update from the men's. And I can tell you that Tony Grantham has made his way through to the New Zealand final. The run of Andy Curtin has just come to an end. 21-13, Tony Grantham, playing out of the Mount Albert Club in Auckland, has defeated Andrew Curtin of Victoria by 21-13. And in the other semi-final, that between Kelvin Scott and the defending champion Mike Galloway, it is Kelvin Scott leading 13-11 in the race to 21. So, Tony Grantham, of course, who won the singles a few years back in Dunedin, it's a pretty convincing win, Val, really, isn't it? But full marks to Andy Curtin to get through the semi-final, isn't it?
Exactly. I think he's done really well. Andrew? Maybe Tony forced him on his forehand or something.
He may have. He may have. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah.
Found a weakness.
Found a weakness, yeah. We'll get you off that backhand. Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out how. I'm sure that, well, Tony Grantham would well know that the well-known shot of Andy Curtin, but well done by Andy Curtin. Of course, well done, Tony Grantham now through to the final. So on the search here is Claire Hendra, and just, well, it's a shot to sort of play. Don't know if it was, well, more than likely you've got to play. More than likely you've got to play with that weight to hold it up with that breeze that's brushing through there. 15-2 now as we come to the back end of end 11 of 18. But yeah, Sandra Keith give a whack on the leg. Is she a bit quick, giving the indicator? Well, she is, obviously. But of course,
so there is still an opportunity to pick 3 up here. If she gets
there is.
Jack.
Hard shot, but the opportunity, as Val just said, rightly is there. I can't.
I mean, the other option, if she felt uncomfortable, is just go quick down.
Or
on
just
the
go quick
forehand.
at that shot bowl.
Quick at the shot bowl. Chip bowl off for 2.
I don't even, yeah.
So,
I haven't looked once, I don't think. I've looked at the head.
Claire Hendra on the mat is going to play with that weight again to reach through the bowls, trying to get to the jack.
She didn't give it the speed.
No.
2 minds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, as you well know, Valen, at the international level, in pairs especially, is one, you've got to get the start of the head right.
Yeah.
And 2, you've got to be confident in your shot making, because you can quickly get into trouble, can't you? If you
That's it. I think you've got to decide the shot to play, and then you've got to commit to it 100%. If you start doubting it, you end up playing, something that
in between, searching
in between. So she's gone in between, just over a draw, but her intention was to get down. Did not give it the weight.
No.
To get down there. Yeah, how your mind and body works together is.
Yeah, and this is where I think, in the New Zealand point of view, it is. But I think at a New Zealand, New Zealand players, that we've got Caitlin Inch now playing full time, literally at Australia, and I think you'd agree, Val, that we've seen the maturity in Caitlin's play now.
Without a doubt.
Her shot selection, her confidence,
her
commitment to the shot.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got to have. And with Joe sort of no longer available now, we've got Caitlin there for sure, and yourself, but we've got to build the ability of these players that be sure of yourself, confidence in what you're going to play, don't half play it.
That's right. I mean, one of the things I really enjoy about playing with Caitlin, she plays with with her maturity has come like a no fear factor. She'll
back herself.
She backs us. She sees the shot. Yep, that's what I'm going to play.
Absolutely.
I loved playing with her. you know, sometimes I think as a combination we work well because sometimes I can sort of like tone down the exuberance of, of youth.
Yeah.
But I love it. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely, because it makes me feel young, and you know, and I mean,
Well,
if you
she's-
can still play the sport after all the years I've played, and you're still excited
And
about
enjoy it,
and
wanna be
enjoying
there.
it, like.
Now, I thought in the Māori Nations that we played over there and the Trans-Tasman, and there was the change made, and Caitlin went to
Yeah.
skip. No I realise you were skipping prior to that, and no
Yeah.
disrespect at all. But we sort of saw Caitlin grow as a top-end player.
Yeah, exactly.
And stamped her mark and saying, hey, I'm, and full marks to her for taking that opportunity.
Yeah,
But what we do lack really is what I would literally call that confidence and hard-nosed approach.
yeah,
That's, if you look at the players like the Karen Murphys, Lindsay Clark and those sorts of players, Kelsey Cottrell, they've always backed themselves with, if I don't get it right, the player behind me is going to get it right.
Right.
And I think it's just something that we have got to just get better at in our overall game and game management.
yeah, and a lot of it comes down to your preparation and your training. Like,
Yes, no doubt.
it's about being self-motivated, like responsible, accountability. Accountability.
Well, you're right.
Yeah,
It's interesting. Philip Scotland and I were talking out there before, and it's certainly not having a crack at all at some of our younger players who've got lots of ability, but so many of them just think it's going to happen.
yeah,
But that's not how it works.
No.
You have to make it happen,
that's right.
and that here, look at this from Sandra Keith getting to the jack onto the shot bowl, does exactly that.
Yeah.
And that's really an important part of it. It doesn't just happen. You have to make it happen, and you've got to
Yeah, we've got to start.
have confidence, not arrogance. You've got to have confidence, and just think and I'm sure now with Mike Kernan being involved in that high performance thing, and we all know what Mike Kernan's sort of,
Yeah.
I'd say hard-nosed attitude is, or game management, but that's the sort of thing that I just think that we've got to start breeding with some of our next up-and-coming players.
Yeah, and being able to accept constructive criticism
Yeah,
too is a
absolutely.
big part, because you have to learn from your mistakes. You
Absolutely.
can't go out and have a poor performance and think that there is a reason for that, apart from the that.
Well, so if you're looking now at Claire Hendred attacking the head, which she literally has to do, and even though I watched that bowl on its delivery point, it was still what I would call, if you're going to have a go at it, you have a go at it. Don't play.
She might be. I mean, I think they're probably probably trying too hard now.
Yep.
And then trying to steer it rather than,
Yep.
trusting your technique.
And, if we look at this head now, like Jack clean in the ditch could be a good result for Claire Hendra and Taylor Bruce, but not so much now with Sandra Keith getting towards the back end of the rink, and Claire Hendra will be trying to get the Jack in the ditch.
She hits some good runners yesterday, so.
That's Rods. That's better weight.
Oh, it's got some grass. Is it going to get down?
No, but it got. Well,
Right, got the back
It
covered.
looked
Got now.
technically better, though, didn't it?
absolutely. It was more direct at the target line. One bowl away from getting the exact target. Now got three bowls sitting at the back. Now back it into your mind. I'm going to get the Jack in the ditch. Doesn't matter what Sandra Keith does with this bowl. I'm going to get that Jack in the ditch, and we're going to score. And she played that, and Claire Hendra played that bowl with the right purpose. That last bowl, played with that direct weight. Because as you know, on these greens, as well, if you try and find your way to the Jack, with what you're going to get into trouble.
Yeah.
So here's the chance to go the Jack
Right, they've
straight
got-
into the ditch. 1, 2, 3 at the back.
Right, they're not checking it, so it must be pretty in. never know.
One down on the head. 16-2 as we come to the completion of the 12th end. Tight. And it'll be another one to the Cantabrian combination of Bev Morrell and Sandra Keith. They jump to a 17-2 as they play end 13 of 18. And I'll be honest, Val, that this score at this stage somewhat surprises me.
I mean, we all know Sandra Keith, Bev Morrell are both two
very
great
good combination.
players. Yeah, and a good combination. I certainly thought the game would be a lot tighter.
Absolutely. It's, I'm not saying one way or the other who it was going to be,
no.
but to me it just sort of touches on the subject that we've been talking about in some of our thinking around the game. Especially if we want to go that next level.
Yeah, but it all comes down to doing the basics well. And I think this game has showed that. Bev has just gone down.
Well,
and worked hard.
There you go. Jack's on the 2 metre mark, a metre away, or just half a metre away. Good start, and just done that end after end after end.
That's right.
So
Taylor, very good.
there, toucher here
That's
from.
good ball, Taylor.
It's a good bowl and sits right on top of the jack, makes it hard to get at. And just remembering, of course, that Tony Grantham has made his way through to the final of the men's singles, where he defeated Andy Curtin in that semi-final. And we now await the outcome of the Kelvin Scott-Mike Galloway game, which was all pretty close on the last update we got. And here it is now, and it is Kelvin Scott leading 15-11. 15-11, Kelvin Scott leading the defending champion, Mike Galloway. Kelvin Scott always been a great singles player, hasn't he? He's been always around. And down here in Christchurch, he's on his underestimated player in some regard, Kelvin Scott.
Beautiful track, mate.
But Mike Galloway, he won't be giving it away. 4 shots, nothing in at one end. Tony Grantham, 21-13, the winner over Andrew Curtin. And tomorrow, play gets underway in the women's singles and men's pairs. You looking forward to the singles?
Yeah, oh yeah. It's always a nervy sort of the qualifying.
Yeah,
but actually both in the pairs and the singles is it's always a nervy time, isn't it?
You've been around long enough to know. You're in the New Zealand side, etc. And the Nationals are the chance for everybody to come and get you.
Yeah, that's right. But
that's good. That's what makes that Nationals so good,
Yeah.
But qualifying's hard. It doesn't matter how good a play.
Really
qualifying is hard.
Yeah. But I enjoy singles because, if you take the result, if you take your outcome out of it and use it as I think everybody, if you want to improve your game or if you want to be a better player, everyone should all play singles. Forget the outcome.
Well, it's so true.
Yeah, because it's the best way to find out about yourself.
Well, if you look over the last few years of our players, Ali Forsyth, Mike Kernahan, all good. Shannon McElroy, Joe Edwards, right? Yourself, all good singles players. And then if we go back even before that, the Rowan Brashes, Peter Ballas's,
Murray Watson,
Marlene Castle, they all, that's
all accomplished singles players.
And that's absolutely correct. And then they also then excelled at the other disciplines as well. But all exceptionally good singles players at both at the international level. And it's a lonely spot.
Oh, look, it is a lonely spot, and you need a different mindset in singles because the highs are big, the lows are
Oh, the lows,
Far away.
because you're on your own.
well, you're on your own, and it can happen. When you're playing your singles, your fours are playing. Your game
Yeah.
gets over quickly, and you got to sit. You got about a couple of hours where you got to sit around and,
Yeah.
and go out again.
That's
and,
right.
And what do? Sure, you want to encourage the other to watch your team members, but it's a lonely. Yeah.
But you don't have to specialise in singles. I'm just saying, if you want to become a better player, play singles.
Well, look, if you
'Cause
want an all-round
if you
player,
want to develop your all-round game, but you just learn so much about yourself when you're out there.
and great for your confidence.
Yeah. Just don't judge your overall ability on your singles result.
No.
Just
So look, Sandra Keith. Look, here's the
Yeah.
shot bowl going,
what a
and
shot, Sandra.
what a magnificent bowl. Played down to the Taylor Bruce bowl with the right weight,
Be
just
under me.
sat the bowl out.
You're
And
just trying to
when you're leading
Bruce at the bowl.
by 17-2 at the 13th end, and everything goes your way, but certainly right on target with Sandra Keith with that bowl. So Claire Hendra again endeavouring to reach up to get to the Sandra Keith bowl. Needs to come under this low bowl of Taylor Bruce's, which it does. Is it going to get all the way to the jack? Deserves to do so, and does, but just
Oh.
played it perfectly, and the jack just rolled back towards the Sandra Keith bowl. Sandra Keith really now doesn't have to do anything on the head, just get down.
Well, they've got Bev Morrell beyond.
We've got a Sandra Keith bowl back
oh,
here,
yeah, no.
and two front bowls of Taylor Bruce's up there, so
Just don't.
well, to
Don't-
try and dislodge that bowl
Right.
without moving anything else,
Jack,
is
without the jack.
without touching the jack, is pretty difficult,
Almost
isn't
have
it?
to. The only way you could do it probably is on the outside of the pink.
Yeah, you got to flick
Yeah.
off it.
Outside of the pink bowl there to shot bowl sideways.
Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra having a conversation to decide what they'll do. And just reminding you that Tony Grantham won his singles semi-final over Andy Curtin 21-13. And in the other semi-final, it is Kelvin Scott of Elmwood Park here in Christchurch, who's leading the defending champion Mike Galloway of Royal Oak in Auckland by 15-11 in the race to 21. And we'll be bringing you that men's singles final live, and I'll have Brett O'Reilly here with me for that men's singles final, which will get underway about half an hour after the completion of this Piers final. So here's Sandra Keith holding the shot, and doesn't really have to do a lot.
She's
Looking to get onto Bev Morell's bowl to turn it through the head.
she's not making life any easier.
I was going to
for,
say that's it. Yeah, and created another back bowl out of it as well. Yeah. Don't. Well,
Push onto it.
make your mind up what you're going to play.
I feel like contact on the bowl's not really going to do much.
Well, they're looking to. They need to score multiples.
Oh, they do.
don't
They need.
So
They need a
it's
three.
not-
Yeah, we're at N13 completion now. You need a 3. But what they haven't been able to do, though, Val, is to build a head to make a 3 or a 4.
No,
And Bev Morell and Sandra Keith haven't allowed them to do so, have they?
no, they haven't.
So, you've got to take your hat off to the opposition who are in front. That they've controlled, game managed, they've controlled the game, and they haven't really put themselves in a position where they've looked vulnerable on the head of a big number, have they?
No.
Now, there's been 2 3s, and the rest have been just 2s and 1s, but it's about, as Val said before, it's about bowls around the head and being able to capitalise on that. So here's Hendra playing that in-between weight. It's not going to do anything out there unless it gets an inside flick. No, it won't. So 13 ends gone now, and it's now 18 shots to 2. And, well, when do you shake hands, Bill?
How many ends? Oh, not yet.
Say 15?
Mind you, bowls back in the other direction.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. So, Val, you're going to receive the award this afternoon as the Bowler of the Year, and rightly so. And surely that must sort of, for you to come back home after being in Australia, to come back home and have a stellar season last year, and now have the rightly accolade of New Zealand Bowler of the Year, it still means a lot to you.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I've played sport. I started playing sport in Nelson at the age of 9. And obviously it means a lot to me for me to still be participating at this level at my age now. So for me it's been the entire package of sport. It's not just been one part of sport. It hasn't just been the playing. Obviously the playing is the ultimate. The playing and the competing is the ultimate. But the it's everything else that goes. I've enjoyed my training. I've had some good coaches in all my sports. It's the people that I've been involved in. I mean, probably when you think about it, it's the people that make the difference.
Yeah, that's you achieve and aspire and get results when you're comfortable and enjoying who you're playing with.
You can't do it on your own.
No, the environment
So
that you're playing within
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference, doesn't it? It's
I've been very fortunate to have lived my life with a lot of inspirational people around me, whether that be from a coaching perspective or and when I talk about a playing and performance perspective, I'm not just talking about the gifted, talented players that I've been fortunate to be involved with. I'm talking about people that I've played with that have given it, they're not naturally gifted sports people. They give it 110% just because they want to be on that field.
Yeah.
And when you see that and you're with that and you're training with them, you think, and if you've got a bit of ability, a bit of talent, it makes you go, well, if they can do that, I can do more.
Yeah, well, the other thing is, the other thing is they like to see you achieve as well. Those real good.
Well, they're part of what you do.
Absolutely.
They're part of it.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just look here now again at Bevan Morrell. Look at these two bowls that she's drawn on this 14th end. Now here's Taylor Bruce on the drive. That's really Taylor knew that. Yeah, going by, and Bev Morrell again. She's controlled the game, hasn't she?
Bev has controlled the game, yes.
From
thought it might have a wee bit more turn than that, but
I don't think there's been too many ends in the game where Claire has just
I'm going to play the other hand. But
yeah, that's cool. Yep.
possibly earlier where she has had the luxury to just draw a shot.
well, they haven't had a head
No.
or two singles. That tells you haven't had a head, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, of course, yes.
And that I take my hat off to the start that Bev Morrell has just given end after end after end. And what it highlights, Val, as well is, we talk about bowls being a sport for all ages. Well, here we've got a lady out here who all I'll say is in her mature years and has been playing for a number of years and played with some of the best, and is out here now in a New Zealand final and still as good as what she was 20, 30 years ago. On the drive going past.
It's to say that, so Bevan herself being out here is an inspiration to the
Absolutely.
likes of myself, and I can see that.
And she's just the same person, just
Exactly. And we all, I'm starting to get in the higher years for international bowls now. But when I see people like Bev, I think, well, what is age?
Absolutely.
It's nothing.
And, you know, they've controlled this game right throughout,
Yeah.
and that's been started by, you know, the lead, Bev Morrell, who's been, you know, outstanding, and a lesson to all players out there or people watching this, that, you know, one thing that never changes in this game, if you keep drawing close to the jack, you're not going to lose many games.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, I think we're at shake hands time, really. If nothing happens with this last bowl, because there's 2 down again on the head, is the combination of Claire Hendra and Taylor Bruce on the board, 18-2 down. And the back as well now belongs to the Morrell Keith combination. Or this one is not going to go in the ditch. No, it's not. So it's got to be a killed the jack in the ditch, which is hard to do from the way how it's positioned. So here is Claire Hendra now, really just trying to say, I'm going to stay in the game, and might just get that. Got one of them, and still one though to the the Keith combination, and 19-2
with
3 to go. I'm not going to say anything, but you've got 18 bowls left, and you've got to score with.
They need a big one this end, or be shake hands.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be. It's got to be a significant number. Absolutely, it does. And to me, this is a great advertisement about the sport. That, you know, the catchphrase "a game for all ages."
Exactly.
Highlights that, doesn't it? Really. And even if we looked at those men's singles, you know, I was talking to Mike Galloway and Andrew Curtin earlier on today, and then talking about playing in the New Zealand development side in the early 90s.
Yeah.
and here they are still, like, both out, and Kelvin Scott would have been, and there's Bev Morrell again. See, that first bowl
She's
consistent.
played outstanding.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's now, as Val rightly said, they're going to score a big number here. We'll update you in a moment on that Kelvin Scott, Mike Galloway game, knowing, of course, already that one of the finalists has been found, that being Tony Grantham, after he defeated Andrew Curtin, and now it's Kelvin Scott and Mike Galloway. And the last cross we had, it was Kelvin Scott that was leading it. It was 15-11. And Collins just, there's the perfect situation, Val, isn't it? One on.
It's very good.
Or 16-14 now.
It's not moving very fast.
That's not.
This game is so tight.
It's not moving very fast. So obviously a 1, a 2, a 1. It's low scoring, that's for sure. And with the calibre of these two players, you'd expect
it's a good battle.
A good battle
very
for
good
sure.
battle.
On two very good draw players. The man Galloway, who I think is more than I got one of the best deliveries that you'd want to have for all surfaces. And Bev Morrell.
Very steady, very
Oh,
consistent.
I'd take my hat off to, that. And so now I'm going to ask you here.
Wait through to me here.
Val, there's this shot here that Taylor Bruce is going to play. And now I'm going to question that.
Well, the thing is, short bowl, and when you're requiring multiples, is not a good bowl.
No, she's now got the jack around the corner, which is fantastic.
To her
But
own bowl.
it may have 1, 2, but so it's one of the first turnarounds on the head that that conversion, so to speak, that we've seen.
But I think even if she'd missed the jack, I think Claire would have been happy for the bowl to have finished
Down through that chute.
Yeah, down through there.
And from Sandra Keith's point of view, she's just got to make sure now, well, she gets second shot, she can shake hands, because it's been a very, very complete
What do
display.
They need to score 5, don't they?
Yeah,
Basically. Well, they need.
No, maybe here, actually.
yeah, they're trying to
They
work it out.
I can't remember it's either Williams or Burnside. I can't remember which one's tomorrow.
So,
They need 17
yeah,
on
so,
3 ends. So
yeah.
it's 2 6s and a 5.
Yes, well, when you got one short bowl.
Yeah. Claire can't afford to even.
Can't lose a bowl, can't do anything.
No. Oh, yeah.
That falls in.
Go clear.
So I'm picking that for the second year, or 2 years out of 3 now, we've seen Claire Hendra and Taylor Bruce reach the final, but not walk away with the...
No, well, I think the last final was when Caitlin and Selena won.
It was.
Wasn't it? It was fairly epic.
It
though,
was
wasn't it? There wasn't much
at
in it.
Papanui.
And it was a very high quality
It was.
game of bowls.
So Sandra Keith on the backhand, playing the scoreboard. Going to be very short with this one. She's not going to be too worried about it. And I don't think for one moment that Sandra Keith and Bev Morrell would expected to be in this position with such a handy lead. You know, you play a final, you know you're in for a real
Perhaps that was
battle.
the key. Just gone out, no expectation.
No,
Play
correct.
with freedom.
Yeah.
And just.
And they've
just
been
be
outstanding.
All over. And
This-
she'd have to kill it.
Yeah, well, good luck. I see Taylor Bruce just having a cautionary glance at the scoreboard, trying to do some quick mathematics, but I think the mathematics have run out now. So Kelvin Scott leading Mike Galloway but a moment ago. 16-14 in the race to 21 in that men's semi-final with Tony Grantham.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Can't make too much more out of that.
Tony Grantham defeating Andrew Curtin by 21 shots to 13. Tony Grantham through to another New Zealand singles final. And as we see Sandra Keith in this final and Bev Morrell leading 19 shots to 2. And we'll just see what happens here. One's out, come out. Now looking to see whether it's
Two. I'll leave it there.
4. 19-4 now after
so that-
15.
Oh, so they still got 3 to play now. So I read that wrong before.
Yeah, I thought that, yeah, I was the
Because
same.
it was end 15.
So they're still at the point where they need 15, 3 to go, and Mike Galloway and Kelvin Scott, 16-14. So your peers partner
There's my peers partner looking on. Lisa
sitting
Britton.
down there.
I think I was supposed to let people know that my housemates Debbie White and Lisa Bordeaux are awesome. That's what they told me to say.
Okay, so there it is. You've had
Actually-
it confirmed by the New Zealand Bowler of the Year that you had very, very good housemates.
To be fair, they have been awesome too.
That's- So, as we draw down towards the end of this Summerset National Women's Pairs Final between Bev Morrell and Sandra Keith of Canterbury up against Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra. Earlier today we saw in the semi-final, we saw the Taylor Bruce combination defeat the mother and daughter combination of Kirsten Rowe and Emily Miller, and Sandra Keith and Bev Morrell up against Natasha Grimshaw and Hannah Rio de Silva. And it was, of course, Sandra Keith that won that game. And in this final, It's really been that of one-way traffic.
Beautiful track.
And in the men's quarterfinals, semi-finals, we're getting down to the closing stages there as well. And that final will be underway pretty quickly after the completion of this women's semi-final. And then, of course, later on today, there is the presentation to the various recipients who have won Bowls New Zealand awards for the season gone by,
Your first bowl.
in recognition of their achievements in a very challenging year it was, with COVID and clubs closed and greens closed, and we managed to get through the nationals and inter-centre and inter-club finals, and I think literally all of those recipients are here. And tomorrow and the next day we'll be carrying on this live coverage with the Para New Zealand and Blind Bowls New Zealand, their semi-finals and finals. We'll be covering those on the next 2 days, and then we'll be back for the latter stages, the completion of the Summerset Nationals here in Christchurch. We'll be bringing you the finals of the women's singles and men's pairs, the final stages of those on the 8th and 9th. And we trust you enjoy our coverage, and you'll be back watching all of the live action. And if this weather continues, Val, we certainly will have had a great 8 or 9 days in Christchurch, won't we, with these nationals, because the weather's been outstanding, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's been beautiful. Weather's been good. The greens have been good.
Don't think you have to worry too much.
And Taylor Bruce just saying there to Bev Morrell, don't think you have to worry too much. And it's now Bev Morrell, I'm sure I haven't got all the records here with me, but is one of New Zealand fours correct? With
I would imagine. I'm not sure what.
I'm sure playing with those legendary Linwood players, weren't they?
Yeah.
I was sure that she'd won, that Bev had won at New Zealand fours. I'd have to look right up back through the archives on that. Brett O'Reilly might be able to update me on that.
Opportunity still there or no?
Yeah, a bit of a nudge is good. That will kind of cut it out. That will cut out mine though. So just drawing close again.
So Claire Hendrick endeavouring to try and do something, holding the shot. In fact, holding two, more than likely, under the line. Or more than likely hold up and count, and it does.
Oh.
Oh. Possibly four.
I mean, they don't need to, do they?
No. And
mind you, if she plucked out
it's game over.
one of Taylor's or something, it was game over. But
Sandra Keith came up to have a look, decide what shot she'll play.
You want to come straight through the gap and take your own out. Just draw.
Well, she's got a metre to literally draw the third shot.
Yeah, if she just beat her last bowl, she was on a...
And of course, if she can get third shot, that just makes it that much more. Well, I know Claire Hendrick's she's got one bowl left. As she has. So Sandra Keith making her way slowly back to the mat, leading 19-4. And singles between Galloway and Kelvin Scott. Here's the update. 18-17 is just Colin. Well done, just as we speak. So it's now Kelvin Scott leading Michael Galloway, the defending champion, by 18 shots to 17. So that's certainly anybody's. And here's trying to get to third shot, perhaps. Got three.
Yeah, touch is good.
So, score again will the Taylor Bruce combination. And heard through the microphone they were holding 3. Trying to get to 4.
Wow.
Applause out there in the men's singles. Something's just happened. So, Claire Hendra, and I can see Mike Galloway. On both players going down and look at the head in that men's singles. It'll count. Yeah, of course, beat the last. That bowl actually now is a good target, isn't it, for Sandra Keith? That's your target to draw the second shot, isn't it?
Yeah, well, she gets 4th shot. It's good.
Well, certainly out on that wider line.
So a bit of grass.
As we know, that's where they come from, out in that area. Bev Morell's urging it on. Is it going to get all the way up? No, it won't. That's 3 they've taken out.
4. Taylor just indicated.
It was
4.
indicated.
Do you want me to measure it? I'm happy to.
4 it was. So we're at 19-8 now after 16. 16 of the 18 ends. Here Taylor Bruce saying we're still alive. Well, so
11 shots and 2 ends.
Yeah, same again, mate.
well, 6 and a 5 and we got an extra
Here
end.
we go.
Yeah, good luck. So that men's singles semi-final, well, that's certainly anybody's. 18-17 to Kelvin Scott over the defending champion, Mike Galloway. And Colin, thanks for keeping us up to date of those scores. Taylor Bruce now with her first bowl, trying to do, I'm not going to say the impossible, but yeah, very challenging predicament. Had a good opening bowl, very good opening bowl here from Taylor Bruce. Just goes past the 2 metre mark, sits in behind. Applause from a skip. Bev Morell, you could say, has been, in my view, she's been the player of the final because of her consistency. Doesn't matter what length it's been. Bev Morell has never been far away. And Sandra Keith here reporting good bowl from Bev Morell, and it certainly is. You know,
You got to get
5 inside that. It's yeah, it's a big ask. So
Different line, sorry.
yeah, so look, really, their object now, really, after they got the shot, was really to try and build the backup.
That's right.
To try and,
Well, they probably had to get on the other side of the centre line from
Correct.
where Bev's bowl is anyway.
Yeah, and get down there,
Beyond.
get down in this back area here between the number, that arc across to where
That's
Sandra
right.
Keith is, so that you can, but there's no way that's going to be allowed, is there, from just Bev Morell? Have a look at that.
Any hand?
She's played very well in
Oh.
this direction.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Sat inside the bowl of Taylor Bruce's, sat inside it, rolled on towards the jack, touch up, and just making the job all that more difficult. Taylor Bruce now on the charge, trying to get to the shot bowl, might get one of the bowls, got her own as well. So it's now, well, shake hands.
Well, is it going to be a kill fest?
Well, that's all.
Yeah.
That's all there can be, Val, because there's not enough bowls left now, and
Stay away.
I'm sure Bev Morell won't mind where this bowl goes. Stay right away, and it's right up to you now, Claire. You've got to kill. That's the only option. 18-17. Kelvin Scott leading Mike Galloway in the race to 21, and I just looking. Kelvin Scott may have got the mat. in that last end.
Yeah.
The camera just swung around there for a second. I saw Kelvin Scott on the mat.
Yeah, well, crazy things happen.
On the drive is Claire Hendrick, close to getting
She's
the
got
kill.
it.
Gets the kill. We've got another play. We go again. No, Bev Morello will be saying, well, that's fine. You can kill as many as you like because
Yeah.
they don't go on the score. They don't go on the scoreboard.
No.
Yeah, good hit.
So Sandra Keith has won a couple of New Zealand Fours titles.
There was a few years back, she dominated the women's bowls here in New Zealand. I think she won singles pairs. She won. Did
Oh.
she not win? She won a lot.
She has. I'm just going to have a quick check now to where this number will bring her to. So, Tara Bruce endeavouring to try and get a scoring end for the... here we go. So, won the New Zealand singles in 2012, pairs in 2013, and the fours in 2020. Also, prior to that, of course, she got a bronze medal in the Asia Pacific, where she was in the triples, got a bronze, and in the fours that same year a bronze, and of course won the world champion singles in Cyprus
That's right.
in
So
2012.
Over that 2012, 2013.
Well, there 2012 and 13 she won the New
She-
Zealand pairs and singles.
She was just winning everything.
So, you know, an accomplished player of her own right.
Yeah.
And this will give her another New Zealand title, should they hold on to it. And they're certainly going in that direction.
Take it home.
There's Bev not far from the jack again.
Well, that's just been the name of the game, the whole right throughout, isn't it? You know, and you know, perfect.
Is there still that option drawing that jack
Sandra
through
just
today?
gives it a little side slap.
Well, there it is.
Right,
We've got it. Cricket history today. Bangladesh win by 8 wickets over the Black Caps. New Zealand all out for 169 in their second innings, and Bangladesh 42 for 2, chasing down their very, very meagre target, and that's history in Bangladesh cricket and New Zealand cricket. Their first test victory against New Zealand, and of course New Zealand's first ever test loss to Bangladesh. So all on now for the second test, of course, to be played here in Christchurch in a few days' time.
It's a very good last bowl from Bev Morel as well.
Well, even so,
3 good bowls.
Taylor Bruce now talking to Claire Henry, try and draw the jack over there.
I mean, it's a tough ask. 6 and a 5, is it?
Impossible,
It's not impossible, obviously.
but it's
You're asking for
it's next to impossible.
opposition meltdown, really, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've seen right throughout this final, Bev Morel been so dominating. It's just not going to happen, you know. And now, of course, Claire Hendry's trying to play that drag of the jack around the corner shot to get down to where those 2 Taylor Bruce bowls are to make 3. But, of course, remembering that Sandra Keith's got bowls left as well. And this is going to get one of the Bev Morel bowls. And, well, now
Well, it's another kill.
that's all there is. Yeah. Sandra Keith will be determined not to go anywhere near the head at all. And she's now saying to Claire Hendra, you've got to kill the beer jack to survive another end.
This is when you're trying to kill it. She'll probably ram it straight in the ditch instead
Go
of the top.
go straight back into the ditch for one.
Yeah.
So here's Claire Hendra now on the mat, trailing by 19 shots to 8 against Bev Morrell and Sandra Keith in the Summerset Nationals Women's Pairs Final, and that's going to go wide of the target.
So one more bullet left.
One to go, and it's just going to be the fourth New Zealand title for Sandra Keith. And we'll have to check on Bev Morrell, which I will certainly do in the break between this and the men's pairs. But they've been really one team in it right throughout, and that's been mainly from the work of Bev Morrell, who's just been outstanding off the front for the Sandra Keith combination. So here is Claire Hendra now on the drive again, and it's going to go by again, and there it is. It's all over. We've got New Zealand pairs winners, Bev Morrell of the Canterbury combination, Bev Morrell and Sandra Keith, who have defeated Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra. And to be fair, Val, it was one-way traffic, really, wasn't it?
It was one-way traffic. Bev jumped on the ring from the outset, just, plodded away, not trying to do anything flash, just plodded away down one side of the rink and dominated up front, and Sandra came in, chipped in when she had to from Skip's point,
Absolutely. And the other thing is a lesson for all is, and Bev Morrell proved that you just stick to your task.
That's right.
And that's what she did right throughout, and were the worthy winners. So here we have the winners now. The Summerset National Women's Singles is Bev Morrell and Sandra Keith, and Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra as runners-up. And as we leave you, and thanks to Val Smith, who's been with me right throughout, and always good to have you alongside, Val, I can tell you now that Mike Galloway leads Kelvin Scott by 19 to 18. 19 to 18 in the race to 21. So we'll be back with you live this afternoon, Brett O'Reilly and myself, and we'll bring you the coverage of the Summerset National Men's Singles.